If you were fortunate enough to grow up in the time of video stores, your trip would consist of browsing each aisle, searching for a movie to captivate you and whoever you were watching it with that evening. So it's common sense that the title will be one of, if not the first thing to catch your eye. And when it came to action movies, boy, could a title say it all. Die Hard, Commando, Lethal Weapon, Missing in Action, Big Trouble in Little China, and one of my personal favorites, Action Jackson. I mean, that title alone gives you the movie. This logic is, of course, the same with video games.
That's exactly what I was going to say.
So during my endeavors of browsing through the 360's digital library, I came across the demo for a game that I thought had one of the most remarkable titles ever. And that was
Marlow Briggs and the Mask of Death.
I mean, come on, that title alone, hands down, title of the century. If there was an award for best video game title of all time, that should win it, hands down. Anyway, I remember trying the demo, but I can't recall if I liked the game or not, so it just kind of slipped on by. Until not too long ago when I saw that not only was the game on PC, but for really cheap. So I figured, what the hell, I'll give it a shot. But, is the game as good as its title? Only one way to find out.
The story of Marlow Briggs is pretty basic and to the point. You play as Briggs, a smoke jumper firefighter who's on vacation at a Mayan dig site with his archaeologist girlfriend Eva Torres. When Eva finds out that her employer, Heng Long, is planning to resurrect a powerful evil via a ritual from the job she's working on, she tries to leave. Heng Long says no to this and has Marlow killed by getting stabbed with an ancient weapon known as Khan's Fangs, and kidnaps Eva, forcing her to finish the work.
Translate every last codex. Am I understood?
You can't keep us here against our will. Come on, baby. We're out of here.
Us?
Marlow! Get your hands off me!
Back up. Let her go.
Mr. Briggs, I'm afraid I'm going to have to let you go. Distraction in the workplace will not be tolerated. Kill the boyfriend.
No! No!
Use that. And this is what happens when people tell me no.
No! Marlow! Oh God, please! No! No! Oh,
Save
God.
your breath, Miss Holly. There is no God here.
You sick bastard!
Oh, now that's not very nice. No more of this talk of leaving. I'm sure Mr. Briggs wasn't your only loved one. And I can assure you, my reach is quite long.
However, the weapon houses the Mask of Death, which contains the spirit of King Tep. Tep revives Briggs, telling him he's the chosen warrior of legend, or something like that, and helps him to stop Long from completing the ritual and save Eva.
Rise, sacred warrior. Rise and breathe air, free of the stench of Shivalba once more.
Right away, I can tell you that the story is not what holds this game together, as it's merely a tool to keep it going forward. Even when it tries to get serious in some parts, it's still filled with awesomely cheesy 80s and 90s action movie tropes that will give you a good laugh. Fortunately, or unfortunately, depending on your point of view, the gameplay is also a trope into itself. Briggs is an action hack-and-slash game, similar to God of War. And I do mean similar. You progress through the section levels, killing enemies that get in your way, and earning experience orbs that level up your weapons, health/magic meters, and abilities. You start off with the Fangs, which is a scythe-like weapon, but earn new forms as you progress, such as clawed swords, a whip, and hammer, each with their own set of combos. Also, as you play, you'll obtain 4 magical attacks: fire, ice, wind, and earth, that will damage anyone near you. Lastly, you earn 3 other abilities: Spirit Knives, which is your ranged attack, Conversion, which allows you to convert an enemy to your side and help you fight, and Wings of the Condor, which allows you to glide. Just like God of War, there are also some puzzles that you must complete in order to advance, although they're not as difficult as the ones found in Kratos' adventure, so they're more of a hindrance than fun. There are even minigame segments that are peppered throughout the game, like turret sections, sliding segments, and even segments where you fly a chopper in a plane like a shoot-'em-up. These parts will activate challenges, like kill all enemies, or collect all orbs, that will earn you bonus experience upon completion. If there are any complaints to be had, it's that Marlow Briggs is just way too similar to God of War, right down to the controls and annoying camera that sometimes glitches in interesting ways. Now, don't get me wrong, I'm not saying the gameplay is horrible, just that there isn't much difference between the two, making Briggs feel like it's one of those mobile rip-off games instead of its own, and it's a bit of a shame. The presentation fares a lot better though, with visuals that are pretty damn good for 5 to 6 years ago. The stages are designed quite beautifully and vary from lush jungles and old temples, cold mountains, the underworld, and the modern oil rigs owned by Long, while character models look really nice, with Briggs and Long being the true standouts. Sadly, I can't say the same for the enemies. While there are a few variants ranging from soldiers, bugs, and temple demons, that's really about it. It gets lazier when you fight possessed versions of enemies, and they just have smoke surrounding them. Very clever. On the audio side, the music is decent and appropriate for the tone the game's going for, with big, epic music during the action scenes, and more calm, tribal melodies when you're just walking to the next area or solving a puzzle. The voice acting is really good though, with some hilarious interactions between Briggs and King Tep.
This whole place is a damn death trap.
But you are already dead.
One thing I do have to point out though is Hang Long. Listen to his voice. Does he sound familiar to you?
Marlow Briggs.
Marlow's my boyfriend. He's visiting for a few days.
Well, we can always use more workers. Now, Miss Torres, I believe you had an update for me?
Yes. We've recovered the last major codex, and it appears to be in remarkable condition.
Wonderful news. Excellent work, Miss Torres.
No? Well, what if I did this?
Now, this really pisses me off to no end. You take her, take the bitch! It's a good knife. Goodbye, Mr. Burton.
That's right, Hang Long is played by David Lopan himself, the legendary James Hong. And let me tell you, he gives a knockout performance, hilariously taunting you as you play through the game.
Attention, effective immediately, all workers under my employ are hereby forbidden to be killed by the rampaging intruder known as Mr. Briggs. Any employee who falls to Mr. Briggs will find themselves joined in the afterlife by their immediate family. Attention, workers. To deal with a trespasser known as Mr. Briggs, all employees now have full access to the weapons locker. And any worker who successfully wounds Mr. Briggs will be partially reimbursed for the cost of weapons rental.
Marlow Briggs and the Mask of Death is a tough game to recommend, mostly because you've played it already, as God of War. That, and at only 5 hours to complete, it's kind of a short journey. However, if the story of Kratos is a bit too serious for you, I say play this one. Yeah, the gameplay is a carbon copy of Sony's flagship series, but the humor and over-the-top action helps this one to be just a little bit more than that. Plus, it's quite affordable. I picked up the PC version for $1, and now that it's backwards compatible on Xbox One, you don't have to dig out your 360. In the end, Marlow Briggs may just be a clone, but it's an alright clone with one hell of a name. And with that, this is the Dolly Popka. Thanks for watching. See you next time.
Take her, take the bitch!